Welcome back to TheChowTimePod. It's your host, Red. I got a video today from Law and Crime Network. Married mom has sex with 15-year-old boy after meeting at a hot tub. They always say that men are the evil ones, but women are doing the same evil acts. Do they get the same consequences as evil men do? Let's see. Please subscribe down below. I really appreciate that. Let's get that chow. It's chow time.
A mom from Minnesota is facing sex charges, accused of having sex with two teenage boys during a staycation with her family at a hotel. We have the allegations and how she met up with the boys. I'm Anjanette Levy. It's Tuesday, and this is Crime Fix. Allison Chardon is a 38-year-old wife and mother of two who's accused of having sexual contact with two boys who could have been her own sons. Police in Roseville, Minnesota say Chardon met the two 15-year-old boys at a hotel there outside of Minneapolis on January 14th. The teenage boys were there with their hockey team from Colorado.
Wow. So the teenage boys from a hockey team. Oh, geez. It's like a little league hockey. Like, I guess it's not little league, right? It's shit. This is like really bad.
An affidavit says Chardon met the boys in a hot tub and complained about trouble she was having in her marriage. Chardon told the boys she had cheated on her husband and that he had hit her. Chardon went to the boys' hotel room after sending them a message on Snapchat, according to an affidavit. That same affidavit says Chardon performed oral sex on one of the boys and had one of the boys touch her. The next day, the affidavit says Chardon actually showed up at the boys' hockey game, which creeped them out. Chardon faces 2 counts of criminal sexual contact, one in the 3rd degree and the other in the 4th degree. Dr. Angela Arnold is
Damn, what is 3rd and 4th degree? Like, someone explain down below.
Here to talk with us about what's going on with this case. Dr. Arnold, Allison Chardon is accused of molesting basically these two 15-year-old boys.
Now they use the words. Before it wasn't, but now they use the words. But if it was a man, he would have gotten accused of these things right off the bat of the video. It's just so... I did this so we see the stark differences of how they treat men with the being accused of these things and how they treat women that are being accused of these things.
Boys, I can't imagine this is the first time this has happened. Your
Agreed.
Thoughts?
Oh, Anjanette, that was the very first thing I thought when I read these stories, because it didn't seem to bother her. She felt like this was just something that she did. She was
Correct.
so emboldened by it. I am completely sure that this is not the first time that she has done this.
The other side of why she's so emboldened and feels like she can do it without any repercussions, because she doesn't usually have any repercussions. Women do this on a very, I wouldn't say very, but on a decent scale, but hardly the stories ever come up to light.
That is so shocking to me about it is the fact that she's on a staycation with her 2 young children and her husband. She happens upon these kids, these teenage boys who are hockey players. She's in a hot tub with them, basically saying, oh yeah, I cheat on my husband and we don't get along and he hits me and we're having this kind of bad, we're in a bad spot and we're trying to work it out. And she's sending Snapchat messages to the kids, which is just a whole nother creepy thing. Like sending, anytime an adult is sending social media messages to young people, I think that's a huge red flag. Yes.
It is.
And these 15-year-old boys, people can say all they want. Oh, they're, teenage boys. Yeah, they probably, they liked it. You hear all that garbage, which it's garbage.
I 100% agree with her. It is complete garbage. Just because they're boys and they probably did enjoy it didn't mean they did not get sexually assaulted. It did not mean that they did not have the cognitive abilities that could consent to these things with an adult, just as we do for all other people at that age. Why does it matter when it's a boy now? Like, why do we make it so it's a blameless thing because they are boys? But when it's a woman, it's an electric chair.
They're still children. I can't imagine, what is going on with this woman. According to the allegations, she's innocent until proven guilty, but What do you think is going on here for this woman
Like
to be kind of
psychologically,
preying upon these boys at a hotel
that's exactly
while
what
her
she's doing.
young children and her husband are in another room?
Now, Anjanette, sorry to say, this is not the first time I've heard of something like this. I've actually had patients that have been involved in things like this. Okay.
Really?
So I've been able to study these people. Yes. First of all, if the allegations are
That sounded so wrong. Like, so I've been able to study these people. Like, yeah, I understand where she's coming from. It just sounds so awkward. Like, you're just like, oh yeah, these people got abused, and they did these things. So I'm just gonna like monitor them and see how they operate. It sounds a little creepy.
are true, she's a predator. She is an older woman who is preying upon children who are underage, and she's above them, and they don't know how to handle how she is coming towards them.
Correct. She is an
okay?
authority figure.
But when we talk about her and her psychological issues, Anjanette, I am convinced that she is at the very least a sociopath and perhaps even a psychopath, because I promise you, she will never think that what she's done is wrong. She is never going to be able to see the error in her ways. She thinks, and she has no conscience about this. So she preyed on these children, and that's exactly what they are. They are children.
100% agreed.
She, as much as she is not thinking about her own children in her hotel room and her husband and the kind of mother and woman that she's supposed to be, she's also not thinking about, as all of us are horrified by this, she's not horrified by this.
No.
She is not horrified by her actions. And I'll promise you, she'll get up in court, she'll have a straight face, she'll be able to convince some people that she didn't do anything wrong. I am not kidding. And you know why? Because she's a sociopath at best. And she has no
Wrong. It's not just because she's a sociopath. It's because she's a woman and a sociopath. She'll be able to sway a lot more people with tears.
conscience about what she's doing. This is a very dangerous situation. I know that right now people are just shocked by it, but I want people to know that
Yeah, you women are shocked by it. Us men are not. We know you guys do the exact same thing that men do, and almost like a greater scale because it gets overlooked. There's less consequences for you guys to actually do the exact same horrible things that men do. And this is what feminism fought for. The right for women to be just as horrible as the most horrible men ever in history. They get to do that now freely, when the most horrible men had to have killed millions and thousands of people to be that kind of leader and that kind of privilege for them. Women get this as they're becoming 16.
the danger that exists with what she has done and inside of this woman, okay? Anjanette, she needs to be put away forever for this. She's
Agreed.
never going to change.
Well, she's right now charged with 3rd and 4th degree sex crimes. I don't want to go too
Like, the higher degree is like the lower the punishment. I know like 1st degree murder is like the highest form of murder. So like 4th degree sexual assault is like a slap on the wrist or what?
into too much detail about what went on, but I mean, it is pretty disturbing. You know, she started out when she went to the hotel room, according to the affidavit, by telling the boys that they could touch her breasts, and then things progressed. She is accused of performing oral sex on one of the boys and then kind of instructing them to touch her in certain ways. I mean, she's fully nude.
And she's living that sandwich dream right now.
The third boy who was in the room is watching all of this unfold, and
Oh, there's a third boy? Holy shit.
according
Jesus.
to the police, they have Snapchat messages from after the fact where she's reaching out to the boys, or at least one of them, and saying, you know, does he regret this? And the one victim who's identified as victim 2 says, yes, he does. And she's like, oh my gosh, that's so terrible. He regrets his first, you know what? So I just, you know, it sounds like the police
And that's
have
what
a
she's
lot of
and that's what
evidence
she's
there.
able to call it. Yeah. But Anjanette, think about that. She's thinking that she's done these boys some sort of good by letting them have their first experience. That's in her mind what she's concocted. She raped them.
This is how women think in outside of this age demographic gap also. They think that, yeah, they're doing men a favor by letting men do certain things.
She molested these little boys. That's what she did. And she has no remorse about it, and she never will. Look at the way she looks at it. She thinks she did them a favor. Oh, they had their first experience with me. It was safe. How could you regret that? Nothing bad was going to happen to anybody.
We'll get you back to Crime Fix in just
Damn.
a sec. But first, I want to tell you about our sponsor. It's Morgan & Morgan. Morgan & Morgan is the largest personal injury law firm in the U.S. They make submitting a claim really easy. You can do it using your cell link in the description to submit a claim. The thing that is upsetting to me as well was the fact that, I mean, she was even able.
The lady on the left is so like stone faced about everything. I don't know. I could tell she's like a little like upset about the story, but she just has no emotions. It's interesting.
To gain access to the boys. Yes, you know, they're on this hockey trip. You know, the kids, I'm sure they had a chaperone, but you know, they're down there in the hot tub. They're doing what kids do. They're probably just hanging out, you know, doing whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then this woman shows up and meets up with them. I just am,
You know,
I'm kind
Anjanette,
of stunned. Go ahead.
I thought just the mere act, Anjanette, you and I would not get in a hot tub with two strange 15-year-old boys
100%.
that
No.
we didn't know at a hotel.
No.
There are boundaries that we keep, right?
Correct.
That would just be wrong, wouldn't it? I'm
Correct.
quite sure my 20-year-old
Yes, very wrong.
I'm sure my 20-year-old daughter wouldn't get in a hot tub with two 15-year-old boys. Okay? Because we know the boundaries. That alone, if nothing else had have happened that day, that alone is so wrong on so many levels, isn't it? Just the getting in of the hot tub. And then she starts having these conversations with these kids. Wow. It's almost as if, you know, she was having the conversations with them. I'm sure the boys were maybe a little bit confused about
Yeah,
why is
I'm
this
sure they
woman
were.
telling us this. But she wanted
At 15 years old, hockey player kids, I'm pretty sure they were just like, huh? Sure, whatever. I guess you're upset with your husband. You know?
them to possibly feel sorry for her. She was grooming them.
Ooh.
That's what she was doing in the hot tub. She was grooming them. Okay? This woman is a danger to our society.
There was definitely a lot of oversharing there. And then, you know, the husband
Yes.
coming down and, you know, it's what I would call a hot mess. Dr. Arnold, you know,
A hot
do you
mess
see
in the
more
hot tub.
coming out of this? Do you see other people possibly coming forward? I mean, there's been a lot of media on this case. It's been all over the internet. The fact that you've got a young mother of two, a 38-year-old woman accused of sex crimes with two 15-year-old boys in a hotel room.
It's not the first, guys. How many teachers now that we see on reports doing these things with young boys?
She's talking, according to the affidavit, to these boys about, you know, having cheated on her husband. With who?
She's treating these boys as if she was at a bar and talking to like two random chads that just showed up at the bar, and she's just spilling her guts so she can, you know, get laid. These are 15-year-old boys at a hot tub. They don't know what the hell they're doing. They don't even know what the hell's going on, really, to tell you the truth. But anybody that offers 15-year-old boys some kind of sex and boobies, you think they're going to say no? Most of the time, no.
Whom? I mean, that's the question in my mind.
Oh, I have a feeling this is the tip of the iceberg, don't you? I don't know how many people are going to want to actually.
That's what I'm wondering.
I just don't see this as the first time that she would have done this. To me, she had too much bravado about it. It came too easy to her. This was not her first time that she was practicing doing this. Okay. And she took advantage of vulnerable little boys that are under the age of 16. And that's how people need to see this. I don't want to hear any of this boys will be boys or anything like this. What if a man
I actually agree with that. I do think that boys would be boys and boys should be boys, but when it comes to dealing with an adult of such a stature and you're still 15, there's no boys will be boys. It doesn't work out that way anymore.
Man had have done this to 3 little girls.
Correct.
There would be no question in our mind how wrong that was, right?
I love her.
Right.
And this is every bit as wrong as that.
Correct.
Well, and Dr. Arnold, in the affidavit, it said that she Snapchatted or texted the one boy, I think it was a Snapchat, after the fact when they were back in Colorado and said, please don't report this. I'll do anything. Don't report this to the police. So according to the affidavit, she was cognizant of the fact that what had happened and what she had done, according to the allegations, that it was wrong.
It sounds that way. So I also, again, Anjanette, on the same topic, I have to wonder how many other people she said that to and cajoled them to not report her. Okay? So yes, I'm not saying she's crazy. She's not crazy. I'm saying she is severely personality disordered. She doesn't know boundaries. She doesn't have a conscience. But she certainly did know after the fact that she could get in some trouble for this. Okay? But she doesn't have a conscience in dealing with these little boys. That's what makes her a danger. Okay? That's what makes her a danger.
I really like this lady. I like that she sees it both ways and she fights it just as harshly as for men and women. That's how it should be.
Out in society.
And then showing up at the hockey game the next day was really
my
kind of stunning to
Kinda
me. I'm
completely
like,
boundaryless.
that's
Yes.
like something that a high school girl does, like you meet some boys and then you show up at their hockey game, like you think they're cute or something. It just is not something a 38-year-old woman should be doing.
Yeah.
You know what I also wonder, Anjanette? I also wonder if her showing up was to make them fearful, perhaps.
I was actually thinking that when they were talking about it, as they were talking about it, maybe she showed up to kind of like intimidate them, like how witness intimidation works, where they send a big guy to just sit in the stands or in the audience and just mad dog the crap out of them. I think this is something very similar to that.
Make the little boys fearful of saying anything about her. Okay? Maybe I know where you are and whatnot, and don't come after me. I don't know. I don't know what her thoughts were in her head.
I don't know. They said they were
certainly
creeped out.
I agree. That
Yes.
is leading towards
because again, she crossed yet another boundary with those kids. She went on to their turf then.
Well, we will definitely keep an eye on this case as it progresses. Dr. Angela Arnold, thanks as always for coming on.
that. That was some harsh show. I'm glad that a lot of these women on this network, at least, agree with what a lot of men say and what a lot of men view this as. It's just as bad as if it was a man doing it. You should throw the exact same book at her and punish her. Why? A lot of these women, just like the doctor said, you're right. They don't seem to think a lot of these actions are wrong. We need to make it so they know it's wrong for them too, not just for men. Please like, subscribe down below. I really appreciate that, and I'll catch you guys next time. Ciao.